I haven't been back to this location since switching from Sony to Nikon. So it's going to be interesting to see how it feels to photograph a familiar location with a brand new camera body and a new set of lenses. But unfortunately, I'm not sure that we're going to get that much light tonight. But the good thing is, it's really calm. There's not a breath of wind. Unfortunately, I'm a bit late getting here, so I've got to get a bit of a move on. I'm going to start off by heading to basically it's a lookout over the valley, and then we'll see where we can get to after that. And hopefully we'll get a tiny bit of light peeking through the clouds. It's a wobbly platform. The last time I was here, it was absolutely lashing with wind and rain, and it was really unpleasant. So it makes a pleasant change tonight. Well, this is absolutely stunning. It's a bit hazy, but down in the valley, I can hear the calling of the birds. It's really gorgeous. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky scene because even though this is an absolutely beautiful lookout, good lookouts don't always make good photo locations. We've got a lot of trees either side, and we've got a few straggly things poking up potentially into the frame, which we don't want. So we have a choice to make here. We can either go with that chaos and just have a bit of mess around the edges, or we can potentially just zoom in a little bit and cut out most of the foreground, in fact. I've decided to embrace the chaos. We've got this dead tree here, and it's a bit lighter than the rest of the tree, so that's making an interesting foreground. Just set focus on that tree on the right, and here's the shot. Pointed the camera down a bit, and I've tried to incorporate layers within the scene. We've only got a little bit of sky, which is a little bit unusual maybe. I'm making use of these dead trees at the bottom just to give a bit of interest at the bottom of that frame, and then there's just layers folding out to the horizon. Well, because we're extremely limited with this lookout, there's basically no chance of any real foreground. I'm going to head off, see if we can find a much nicer composition. I really would like to cross my fingers for the light. Who knows? Well, the light levels are dropping pretty quickly already, even though we've probably got technically another 40 minutes until sunset. So I need to get a move on. Now, I know from experience that even though the sign says 600 meters to the summit, it's basically all up steps and slopes. And more steps. I think there might even be a ladder. Some absolutely beautiful trees in the southwest of Australia. This is an old towerman's hut. Some really cool patterns in these old tree bark. They always seem to be rushing these days. Really must do some better planning. You know, I vaguely remember the last video I made here saying that I intended to do more cardio. I didn't. So last time I was here, there's the hut, followed this yellow path right to the summit. I think this time we might head down this track to this lookout and see if we can get any foreground. That's the path to the summit, and this is the path we're going to head down. There's a lot of slippery leaf matter, and it's also all very wet, but looks like there might be an easier path coming up. Oh well, this is cool. Yeah, it's definitely opening up now, which is really great. If the sun's setting over here somewhere, we might get a bit of side lighting, if of course we get any light at all. Look at all this cool, really funky green moss heading all the way up there. So that's where we would have been if we'd followed that other path. The problem is, I don't know if this area with this walkway is actually the lookout, the clearing that they were talking about. So Because we probably have to come back this way anyway, I'm going to head a little bit further onwards and just see what we can see. Looks like we're actually heading away from any kind of clearing, but it's always good to explore a little bit. No, it looks like it's definitely kind of going around and back into the bushes. Let's head back and see if we can find a composition at that clearing. Well, there's no real access past this barrier, at least no safe access, and no access that doesn't involve trampling over all of this moss and lichen. So it's also very awkward to get the tripod right here. So I'm going to do some handheld composition, just flipping out the viewfinder so I can see what's going on. I'm going to use this bar to stabilize my hand a little bit, and of course I've got image stabilization turned on for this shot, and we're going to have to boost that ISO as well, just so we can get a nice sharp shot at a decent aperture. I'm going to set my aperture and my shutter speed first, and of course I could use auto ISO for this. It's the exposure set. I'm just going to turn off the display, finalize the composition. Now, because I'm at 14mm, I don't want to get this in the side. So again, making the best of the situation. Focusing about a third of the way into the scene. Just looking at that on the back of the camera, I really quite like it actually. And the greens, at least on this screen, are really popping. Here's the shot. That's always the challenge with these kind of locations where there's very limited actual access to the vista or the viewpoint, and when it is, it's really constrained. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to pack up the camera and we're going to head back up that second path. The lens that I've used for all the photos so far has been the 14 to 30 f4, which is possibly my favourite landscape photography lens ever. Some steps. Either I'm unfit or this camera bag's too heavy. I've decided to stop this little platform. Well, I was going to hand hold this, but the ISO is getting way too high. So it's time to try and finagle the tripod. I'm going to keep going up. Stupidly, I haven't bought a head torch, so I need to be getting down some of these ladders and stuff before it gets completely dark. By the way, if you want 52 ways to level up your photography and get more enjoyment out of it, please check out my 52 Laws of Landscape Photography ebook using the first link in the description, or you can also find it on Kindle. The light has pretty much disappeared now. Probably looks a bit brighter for you watching this through the video camera. So I think this is probably going to be the last shot of the evening. I don't think we're going to make it right to the top. And quite honestly, because I've been there before, there isn't any foreground up there either, other than a big electrical hut. I made two edits of this photo. This first one is the color edit, and I tried to remain true to the scene, and it's a darker, moodier edit. I also thought this scene might look good in black and white, so I made this second edit. Let me know which of these two you like in the comments. Time for me to get out of here. Check out this video next. I think you'll really like it. Please subscribe for more landscape photography, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.